Welcome, dear friends. Here we are with another study of the Spiritist Magazine. What a blessing to be with you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we have the most beautiful message from issue 69 of the magazine. It's titled Illnesses. We get the right title for you. Make sure it's towards the end of the magazine. Illness, obsessions, and disobsession. And this message is by the Spirit Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. As always, please visit spiritistmagazine.org, where you can find the link to the app. You can find a link to all the issues free of charge to you, the link to the app of the magazine, the PDF versions of the magazine, the link to the Facebook page of the magazine, so on and so forth. So without further ado, we are going to be talking today about issue 69. And here you have, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you are seeing right now the screen, my computer screen, where I've downloaded the PDF version of the magazine. And this is the beautiful cover of the magazine that talks about mediumship and its genes, memories, teams, a lot of work on teams. We have a work on children, work on parenting, balanced life, Jesus stories. And if you scroll down all the way to page 40 of the magazine, you have the article for today. So who doesn't want to know, right? If you have a physical body, friends, at some point you will experience illnesses, right? Do you know any human being on the face of this earth that does not have any illness? Anybody want to volunteer? They've never been sick of any shape, form. Of course, we have blessed medicine, medications, vaccine, hygiene, methods of controlling transmission of diseases. There are blessings of divine providence, as we're going to say, but we all going to undergo a process where the physical body may be less than optimal. So today we're going to learn about how to deal with illnesses, how to deal with obsessions, and the process, most efficient way of obtaining relief from obsessions and illnesses or disobsession. So this message is by the Spirit Emmanuel. Remember, if your mentor allowed you to be here today, that means we have a lot to learn together. It's by Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier in a book that is not yet in English. It's called In the World of Chico Xavier, in Chico Xavier's World, by Elias Barbosa, published by the publisher IDE. So it's an interview between Elias Barbosa and Chico Xavier. So here we have. So he will ask a question. Chico, which is the way people lovingly refer to him, right? We can understand that our dialogue is long, but can you tell us what Emmanuel think about the problem of illnesses and obsessions, right? Beautiful way of asking a spiritual mentor. What do they think about it? So Chico replies, he, Emmanuel, often warn us that illnesses and obsessions are tests that test our capacity for moral resistance, teaching us to value the health of the body and the balance of the soul. So let's think this through. When was the last time you or a loved one was ill? And what was the learning that we gathered from the illness? So it's a test. There are tests, both illness and obsession. They're tests. We are in a blend of tests and atonements, trials and expiations, and another way of doing this. So what are we being tested? We test our capacity for moral resistance, right? Are we working diligently to improve? Are we rebellious against the situation and the illness that we have? And also teaches us to value the health of the body and the balance of the soul. Friends, let's look at ourselves today. I'm here on this standing desk, and I have the blessing of the technology that the beautiful engineers created, the project designers, engineers, graphic designers, using the tools that are available to us to communicate. So we're so blessed, the value of being together. I can stand here and speak with you. Yes, we are in spring season in the US. You can probably hear by my voice that the pollen is high in here in Richmond, Virginia. However, we are testing, right? How valuable it is to be able to breathe the air, the value of the body, the thankfulness to the feet, the ankles, and the legs that support us right now. Have we thought about the minutiae of things to do every day? That when we are ill, we notice the little toe, the pinky toe, parts of our bodies that we didn't even think about. We only notice them when they stop working, right? You sprain your ankle, and all of a sudden, you realize the ankle is there. Now I'm bringing attention to your feet, to the ankles, to the toes, to the chin, to the calves, to the knee, to the femur, to the quads, right? To the glutes, to the hips. So as I speak of things, you might be bringing your awareness and attention. How many times we just go about our day without even realizing how blessed it is to be able to stand up, go do things, to do many things that we take for granted. It takes an illness to test our capacity for resilience, to not be discouraged, to not be rebellious, to value the health of the body and the balance of the soul. Because when you have an obsessive process, you are unbalanced in your soul, right? And then he asked another question. Let's go. What is the best prophylaxis against obsessions, right? We know the best way to prevent an obsession. Here it is. Everybody asks me, how can I know if it's mine, I'm obsessed with the spirits? How can we prevent this negative persistence influence of others on us, of us and others? How we can prevent it? Here is the prescription for all of us for the week. Chico Xavier answers. Our spiritual benefactors are unanimous in declaring that studying the works of Kardec so that we may acquire knowledge and education of ourselves is the indispensable first step, because we need to heal the obsessions that plague us without being stuck to superstition and negative fear. So studying, where do you study Allan Kardec, friends? In the Spiritist Center. With all the respect, the interaction we are having now is blessed. But virtually, we needed to meet when we had a pandemic. Now we need to go back to the Spiritist Center. Give up some moments, an hour, 2 hours max, right? 20 minutes driving, 10 minutes there, an hour and a half of our time weekly, which is the bare minimum that is asked of us. So we need to acquire knowledge and education. And we can only acquire knowledge of education if we study. And the next step is application. The latter usually happens to many brothers and sisters suffering. When they achieve the desired psychic improvement in other religious sect. Right? So sometimes we are superstitious. Oh, I don't use this color. I use white at the New Year's. I don't go under stairs. There's a lot of things in negative fear, because fear can be your body telling you that something is wrong, your intuition telling you don't do this. It can be a positive way of us to avoid things that will hurt us. Having explained Allan Kardec's needs for distancing ourselves from the obsessive process, we have, in the respective prophylaxis, prayer and service to others as the basis of all restorative action. Prayer and service to others, friends. So every time we think of not doing something for others, we are not getting away from the obsessive process. We are launching ourselves in selfishness, in pride, in just doing things for myself, for traveling, for enjoying. We're not praying and serving anybody. Oh, but I'm serving my family. Maybe, because if we taught our children, our teens and young adults, and even ourselves as adults, that going to the Spiritist Center has a whole host of multidimensional activities, that we're learning to stay calm and quiet. We are teaching the future generations of the earth to give all of themselves to a bigger cause, which is the majority of things that we miss on the earth today. We only want it for ourselves. And we're forgetting that we live in society, the love of society. We need to contribute to the communities that we have. Otherwise, we could just have silos, each family for their own, in their own selfishness, instead of growing as citizens of the world that we are. Because today we're here, and we may not think that we have anything to do with a place elsewhere, even though we just went through the pandemic that started elsewhere and spread. Then next life, we don't know, maybe we're going to be on that planet or in that country that we don't care for today, hoping that someone would do prayer and service to others. That's the restorative action of illnesses and obsessions. Whoever wants to study, pray, and fulfill their own duties and work to help others, especially those who go through greater difficulty and trials than us. They're everywhere in the world, friend, silently waiting for the help. We'll certainly achieve liberation and tranquility, because our discarnate adversaries are sensitive to our words, but they only transform for the better with the support of our own actions. We can come to the Spiritist Center, we can go to the church, synagogue, Buddhist temple, mosque, the temples of our friends. There are spiritualists of spiritualist religions. Pray, study. This obsessors and discarnate friends and adversaries are listening. But then we're not doing anything with those beautiful words and study. We need to be transformed by our own actions, and then they might be transformed as well as they go. Remember, when you come to the Spiritist Center, if you have not noticed, if you go back to the Spirit's book, in the first chapter, first part of the Spirit's book, you're going to learn there are several types of spirits that are around us at any given time. Right? One category is obsessors. The others are spirit mentors and guides who are just waiting for us to do the good, to be inspiring us all the time. 24/7 personal trainer of the soul, free of charge for you. And then you have familiar spirits, spirits of our family members who like us, who are here to help us. And then we have sympathetic spirits. Those are spirits who do like the things that we do. Yes, if you like alcohol, you have friends with you who like to drink or have, there's only one glass of wine, still there. Your friends who like alcohol in the spiritual realm are there enjoying your alcohol with you. That's why you cannot say no to your friends, the peer pressure. That is why it's so hard for people to get away from not recognizing the carcinogenic agent recognized by all of medicine to cause cancer. It's still in our society as a means of socialization. Just aside, if people like to use drugs, if people like to watch horror movies, to play violent video games, to watch pornography, to use substances, whatever it is, you have spirits who are there enjoying the activities with you. In the same token, if you like to go to the Spiritist Center, if you like to go to the volunteers' work, if you're always looking for opportunities of service, good spirits connect with you in those moments. So what are our choices, right? So instead of just saying beautiful things, we need to transform for the better. They transform, the obsessors transform. They are purposefully trying to harm us in any way, shape, or form. And remember, obsession goes from us to them, from them to us, and from incarnate to incarnate as well, and discarnate to discarnate as well. That's in the medium's book. But then we need to think about what are the actions. We know enough, friends. Being over 2,000 years that Christ came to show all of this in action. How to be a true human on the earth. And then we're still waiting to follow because, oh, my house, my work, my this, my that. And then we wasted this incarnation. He continues the questions. Would you like to tell us something about your experience in contact with Emmanuel regarding the attitude we should adopt towards our own illnesses? Now, friends, Chico Xavier himself, the Chico Xavier, Francisco Candido Xavier, the medium of the century, right? He had physical illnesses as well. So who are we not to have them? If he who did all he did, we are not even able to do 1% of what he did, of course we're also going to be susceptible to illnesses, right? The Pope, friends, who made such a difference in the Catholic Church, who's going to be buried soon. If he, by the time you watch this, he might already be buried. He had illnesses. Who are we, right? Chico Xavier replies, our friend or spiritual friend Emmanuel believes that we need to remain calm and patient in the face of illnesses with which we may be afflicted. Sometimes when we get ill, the first thing that goes away is our tranquility. We're worry. We create scenarios, negative scenarios, instead of making plans, while at the same time trying to alleviate or eliminate them through appropriate treatment. Friend, you are a multi-millenary, multi-dimensional being. You have a paraspiritual body, a physical body, you have your brain, you have your psychological health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health. No one modality is enough. You have to use all that divine providence is giving to you right now. The appropriate treatment, go to the Spiritist sense, prayer, service, do the good, go to the psychologist, go to the psychiatrist, go get medical treatment, so on and so forth. You have to do both. You are not one dimension, so you cannot treat everything as one dimension. In this regard, Chico Xavier is now going to tell us a story. I'll tell you about one of the first conversations I had with him, Emmanuel, in 1931, right? I was suffering from a complex illness, this is Chico Xavier saying, that I still suffer from in my left eye, when our spiritual mentor appeared to me for the first time. He has been listening to the counsels of Emmanuel, but then he appears to Chico Xavier. After listening to him in several meetings, about work plan that he has brought to us, one night, so Emmanuel appears to him, and he's listening to what Emmanuel has to say, because that's the good medium, right? The educated medium, listen to the guardian angel, to the mentor, telling us what we're going to do. And we all mediums. Educated mediumship and not educated mediumship. Not educated in terms of having education, formal education, but practice, knowledge, safety. One night in December of 1931, almost 100 years ago, right? We are in 2025, friends. 6 years will be, so 94 years ago. I asked him for guidance for my case. I was suffering a lot and wanted to be cured. Oh, how sweet, right? We all want to be cured. We all want just to go away, but then we go back to our ways. So maybe the illness is there to teach us something. Let's see. Emmanuel says, be calm. And he said it how, friend? Kindly. He didn't say, be calm. No, he said kindly. He says, Emmanuel says, you are under the care of dedicated spiritual benefactors and under the assistance of attentive and friendly physicians, doctors in the physical realm. So are you. If you're blessed to be in a place that has healthcare like we have here in America, then you are under the care of friends. Even though with all its problems, it's still, you are under the care of your physicians and dedicated spiritual benefactors. Every single person on this earth has dedicated spiritual benefactors, plural, more than one. We are never alone. Never, ever alone. So, should I continue under the guidance of medicine? Chico Xavier asked. What do you think, friends? Yes, and how could you not? Medicine is in the world in the name of divine providence. Hallelujah, Emmanuel, 1931, friends. Medicine is in the world in the name of divine providence. If you have blessed access to medicine, whatever shape or form, however flawed it is, the system right now, if you have access, it's a blessed thing that God gave us medicine, that God gave us treatments, that God gave us hospitals, that God gave us vaccines, pharmaceuticals, ways of improving the health of the physical body. There's tons of evidence of the safety of many things around us. Please do not be dismayed by those who are working with the darkness to make us believe that medicine is not good for us. Let's use our reasoning, not fear, not unreasoned faith. Medicine is in the world in the name of divine prophecy. If God didn't want us to use medicine to see physicians, nurses, therapists, speech pathologists, respiratory therapists, radiologists, surgeons, nursing assistants, people who clean the hospital facilities, then, friend, we wouldn't have it. We have it. It's blessed. It is blessed. Use it if you have to. Do you mean that I need to treat myself? This is Chico Xavier, friends, asking. With the utmost care, the body is comparable to a hoe, and the reincarnated spirit resembles a farmer. So you're digging, you're using the body, your spirit as a farmer is using the hoe to plow through, to break the soil, to go through the paths of this lifetime. All this deal with the farmer is necessary to keep the hoe in conditions to work correctly and safely. If the hoe breaks, the farmer can't sow, right? So if you are blessed, if you're one of the over 8 billion spirits on this planet who is reincarnated today, know that it is a blessing. Fight to stay. Fight for your friends to stay. Fight for us to help one another so we can eradicate the miseries that we as a society still have. From poverty, lack of education, use of drugs, despair, suicide. There's so much work to do. And what are we worried with? The way we look, our Instagram filters, our pictures, our rest, balance. There's so much work still to do. If you're blessed with a physical body, go help those who have less health than you. There's always someone out there with less means than we are. Medicine is here to help us, but we also have to keep the body in good condition, because if you don't treat the body well, what happens? You discarnate faster. And you'll be like André Luiz. You're going to arrive in the spiritual realm as an indirect suicide because he did what? He did engage in relationships outside his marriage who had him contract a sexually transmitted disease. He used alcohol and food, alcohol and in general food in excess that gave him his gastrointestinal cancer. And he was told by the spirit that he was an indirect suicide because what? You're blessed to be here for 80 years, which is nothing compared to eternity, but it feels like a long time when you're incarnated. And then you misuse the body. You drive recklessly, you do activities reckless, we don't put nutrition well, we don't have hygiene, we don't have regards for life, we use drugs, because the first time you decide to engage in an activity, you may be rolling the dice or being influenced by it, but you decided to use something like to drink, to use a drug. But then later we say, oh, but it's addiction. Yes, but the first time it wasn't. It was a choice. I'm not judging. I'm just explaining that when we make those decisions, we're shortening the lifespan of the body. You see, someone like Divaldo Franco, he gets moratorium. The spirits are there supporting him, but he is what? Enjoying himself in Carnival and Bahia? No. He is doing the work in the dimension of the way. So he has merit to be granted. But if we arrive at the spiritual realm sooner than we plan due to our own actions, we will be in direct suicide, right? It's necessary to keep the body in good condition. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, taking care of the illnesses, helping others, prayers, passes, volunteer, all of that. Good emotions, training of emotions. Go see the psychologist, psychiatrist, the clinical social worker. Go engage in groups. Go be part of your community. Get out of the couch in the basement and go be a part of the community. Do you mean that although I'm a medium and I see you by my side with so much kindness and knowledge, I cannot expect intervention of the spiritual plane to help me heal? Let's look at this, friend. Chico Xavier was a healing medium. Chico Xavier was one of the most complete mediums, right? All of these faculties, and he himself was asking, can I not expect intervention to help himself heal? Because you make the argument, if I'm a medium and if I see spirits, maybe my eyes should be healed so that I can see more, right? And then Emmanuel answers him with a question. Why would you receive privileges for being a medium? Because some people think they are mediums, they're special. They are. They have abilities that you and I may not have, even though you're mediums, intuitive mediums. I'm talking about extensive mediumship. Direct communication between the two realms. Then people think they have privileges, that they're never going to get sick because they're spirits. They're never going to have a problem because they pray. That's not what Christ told us. That's prosperity gospel. You pray, God delivers you a BMW at home, right? So we're not privileged. We are one. We are unique. We are blessed. We have the gene of divinity inside of us. But we are here on earth. It's not a vacation, even though we treat it as this. The intervention of the spiritual plane is working in your favor, and it's working on your favor. This is for you, for you, for you. We all have spiritual friends working in our favor, and he's going to explain to us how. Sustaining your strength through healing magnetism, right? When we think we don't have the time, the effort, the energy, and then we feel like we should keep going. Supporting the action of your eye doctors who support you. Very important here. When you go to a physician, a massage therapist, a nurse, a physical therapist, a speech pathologist, an occupational therapist, a recreational therapist, nursing assistant, whatever you're doing in your world, we're talking about health specifically today, so I'm going to narrow to healthcare providers. But you are in the system, right? So it goes for the grocery store, it goes for your life. When you go to the doctor, the physician is one person. I forgot the pharmacist, poor pharmacist. The physician is one person that you're going to see. But you also have the front desk person, you have the medical assistant, you have the nurses, you have the billing people, you have the other patients. So visualize the spiritual benefactors entering the building with you. They're already there. Sitting next to each and every other patient in the room. Pray mentally instead of complaining that you're waiting. The 30 minutes you're waiting, instead of being belligerent to the person attending to you who is just immersed in red tape. Pray for them. Visualize their benefactors of them. Pray for the medical assistants to take your blood pressure correctly. Believe it or not, there's a lot of wrong ways to take blood pressures. Pray that the pharmacist can put all together all the medicines you have to take so you don't have interactions that can be lethal and it give you harm. Pray that the physician has his or her mentors with them. And your mentors, they can talk and then inspire the physician to come to a diagnosis that is good for you, that will give you a plan, a prognosis. So instead of, this is what you do. Nowadays, we're going to get all curvy, like the cartoon guy. Like that's all people do all the time. Get the face out of the phone and look around and visualize and pray in your mind that God, with the blessing of medicine, is giving you this opportunity for healing. You may not be cured. You may have a disease that doesn't have cure on the earth yet, right? But you have to go through the process. And then through the process of healing, of that process of going through the medications, appointments, and treatments, we learn about resilience. We learn about helping one another. We have to have people to help us. So the superior spirits are always ready to help. We have to open our minds. With all that is happening around the world, the work is just beginning. We need to be ready to serve more. Being a medium does not exempt you from the needs to struggle and to suffer for your own benefit. We don't think about suffering and struggle as beneficial. We see them, or struggles and suffering, as nuisances that are preventing me from doing something else, as it happens to other individuals who are in the physical plane. So if you have a special talent, if you're a medium, Emmanuel is saying you have your own reincarnatory plan. You have your own things to work through. Press on. Pray and press on. Watch and pray, as Jesus said, right? You have said that you intend to write through me. And if God allows, you make books. But do you believe that I can perform the beneficent task with my eyesight as I experience it? Isn't it funny? Because I would think about the same thing. How can I write through books and stuff if I can't see well? Very genuine, you see. Chico Xavier is a beautiful being. He helped us so much, right? Over 500 books that it takes more than one lifetime to read. Without a doubt, if we are to wait for perfect health in order to work, when we will learn to fulfill our duties. I hear this all the time. When I'm better, when I retire, when I'm on vacation, when I'm out of school, when my kid... If we wait for perfection in order to do the service, in our case, if we wait for perfect health to go to the Spiritist Center, we're going to be waiting for a long time. We better find a couch to sit on. So we have to go on regardless of what's happening with us. Of course, friends, so let's use common sense. If you have the flu, COVID, RSV, measles, for the love of God, it should have been eliminated. It's back in the US, or some other contagious disease, you stay home, you quarantine. You go talk to your healthcare professional, because we don't want to put others at risk, right? We live in community. We have to have the understanding in 2025, after reincarnation being selfish, that we affect each other. Your actions affect the actions of others. So how are we acting? Because most people are just doing things for themselves, not thinking about the effects of their actions, but everything that we do, there's an effect. If you are on Earth with all the resources at hand, in the state of the efficient evolution in which we still find ourselves, this is us. We all dream about having all the resources at hand. Look at the percentage of people who have all the resources at hand, all the wealth you and I can imagine. And how many of those were actually good in the world? They get lost, especially the younger generations who grew up without a path, right? Perhaps the difficulties in spiritual service will be greater than the difficulties that arise in the spiritual life. So, friends, do not wait for perfection. Do the good, do the good, do the good. Prayer and service. And as Jesus would say, watch and pray. Watch your mind, watch your thoughts, what you do, what you consume, who you hang out with, so that you can always be in the communion. The sum of spirits around you are spirits of goodness. Okay? So I invite you to visit spiritistmagazine.org, because in this Spiritist Magazine, you will find this beautiful article that you can read again. You can talk to your friends about it. You can talk with your family about it. And ways for you to work illnesses, obsessions, and disobsessions, right? Because when you have the prophylaxis, that prayer and service is what helps. Doing the good transforms those spiritual friends who are trying to negatively influence us. Then you are working through the process of disobsession. Okay? Visit spiritistmagazine.org. There's a contact form if you want to talk to the editor-in-chief. You can write to spiritistmagazine@gmail.com. And God willing, I'll be back with you next week with another program. Stay well, stay safe, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.